In addition to the school committee contested seats, there is a spot open on Needham Planning Board for 5 years. We had the opportunity to speak with the two candidates for the seat, Elizabeth Grimes and Artie Crocker.
A little bit about myself. Came to Needham about 7 years ago when my husband and I were looking around. We decided that Needham was a wonderful place for children, and we were pregnant with our first child. I now have 3 lovely children. I am a real estate attorney with a practice in Newton. I focus mainly on residential real estate. I'm a graduate of Villanova University and Suffolk University Law School.
I was born here in town 54 years ago this May. So obviously I grew up here in town, as did my father, and as did my daughters, who are 29 and 25 and a half or so. So they represent the 4th generation here in Needham. And I've essentially been volunteering in town ever since I was a wee lad, when my father essentially threw me in his van and said, "Artie, we're going to go volunteer somewhere," because that's how I was brought up, kind of instilled with the nature that you give back to the community. Well, the zoning board has done a fairly decent job over a number of years, really looking at the zoning on the other side of 128 and what's now called Needham Crossing. They've changed the zoning there to really enliven the area with viable businesses that will help our tax base. As an engineer, mechanical engineer, what I'm looking to do is bring the conversation to the table with a great understanding of what the additional vision is that we need here in town, and that is the vision of our housing issues in town. We have not done a very good job at that. We are starting to potentially overdevelop our houses, and 20 years from now we may regret that we haven't done what other towns around us are doing, and that is they are looking what's happening with our housing stock and how big the houses are and how they're being torn down. And again, as a mechanical engineer, I have kind of a great vision, an aspect of vision acuity of what's happening in the town, and I'm looking to bring that to the table.
I think in the past few years, the planning board has done a wonderful job at expanding some of the zoning to make Needham's vision as a whole more thoughtful. What we had in the past were a lot of restrictions on commercial development. The CEA has worked behind the scenes, and me as a part of that, with creating some new zoning changes for the New England Business Center, which is now called Needham Crossing. So we've worked on that, and when we were doing that, the planning board actually took that to the next step, which was to create the law and then bring it to town meeting for a vote, which was very important for the town to be able to expand on our commercial base over in the New England Business Center. So they've done a great job with that. Currently, I'm working with the CEA to look at some of the zoning laws on the Wexford Street area, and also to revitalize downtown. I think those 2 areas will be my top priorities on the planning board. I really want our downtown to prosper. I'd love for us to be able to walk through with my kids, go from shop to shop, really help businesses come into town so that we as citizens of Needham can really benefit from our beautiful downtown and our new town hall. I'm a new voice for the planning board, and I think everyone in town deserves a voice. I represent a new generation in Needham, the generation of young families, working families who are here raising our children. We're the fastest growing population in town. We deserve a voice on the planning board. It's important to have balance, and right now we have a very smart planning board. They're very well educated, but they're all within the same demographic. I'm a different voice. I think I will be a fresh perspective. And I also, as a businesswoman, think that I will be able to bring more of a common sense approach to some of the issues that the planning board deals with, and really help them streamline some of the processes so that businesses come to town and flourish here.
Why should you vote for Artie Crocker for planning board? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with diversity. Diversity in the community, diversity on the planning board. Right now, the planning board is made up of essentially 4 lawyers and 1 non-lawyer. I believe he's more of a planner. And with this election, there's an opportunity: do we elect another lawyer, or do we elect an engineer who has a lifelong experience talking about the issues in town, living the issues in town, and really caring deeply about the town he grew up in and what our future is going to look like? And that, I believe, is a very viable option.